guys, so the entrance to my food forest, I have removed the dead stumps of sunflowers that were here, and the melons didn't grow too well because they're kind of shaded over here. I had some watermelon, and here my sapote has been eaten by something. I have a whole slew of grasshoppers of all varieties, green ones, brown ones, and they're eating up a lot of the things here. However, my society garlic here is thriving so well. It's got all these blooms. Sweet potatoes volunteered on their own, and my medicinal garden is doing fantastic. There's calendula, yarrow, marigolds, basil. This is where I planted my watermelon, and as you can see, it's got leaves and everything, but there's something that's going around that's eating up everything that I have. I'm quite upset. That's why there isn't an update to all the fruits I would get. They ate all my pomegranate except for one. I bagged 2 of them, and somehow they knocked down even the second one, so I only had 1 pomegranate, a huge one, granted. We just ate it. And my apple tree that had numerous apples, they've eaten all the apples, whatever it may be. I feel like it's a possum. Have no idea. So recently I had about 3 figs on this tree, and whatever it is, it nibbled on the stump and ate that stump, that branch, and it did so on this one as well. So there's a stump, and it's quite upsetting because whatever it is, it's eating everything that I have. Now here I've had tons of mulch that I collected at the end of May, and I'm kind of going through. There's a ton of weeds in this section, which I'm pulling up, and I'm letting it dry out, sticking it into the coop as bedding. They can poop on it all they want, and then it's going to get dried up, and then I can stick it back into the ground or make weed tea out of it. So this whole area, right there was a huge mountain, probably 3.5 or 4 feet tall, of mulch, and it had been kind of moist, and it had broken down. I would water it sometimes, and just, it's fantastic. So the top would always be this really thick branch type stuff. As you can see, it's very thick twigs and branches. And underneath I had pulled all this. I pulled the top down, and I've been raking it into the food forest, and as you can see, it's quite broken down underneath because it was moist to begin with. So I raked some of this stuff here, kind of made a circular path. I mean, over there it's hilled up a little bit, quite a bit, but over time I'm going to pull all that stuff over to this food forest area, and I've already made some nice paths, and I have things growing in between, so that's what I'm doing. It's over there, so it looks like a lot of brown and then some islands of green, which is what I'm doing. I pulled out a lot of the potted plants from this area, cleared it out, and took all the mulch from that pile over there and brought it over to here and made some lovely areas. So all my potted plants are kind of over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them all over to the garden bed section and bring the rest of the mulch over to the potted area, and then I can start figuring out in the late fall which plants, when they're dormant, which plants I'm going to take out of the pots and put them into the ground. So here is a palm that wonderful palm. that I propagated, and it's gonna go to a friend. I can always have more. And over here I have my pineapple guava, and I don't know, guys, if you have grown these before, do the branches look like that, where they look all dried out and then they start to lose the outer layer? I mean, is that how it's supposed to look? However, it does have fruit. So here's the bud that has a little fruit, but it's really, really tiny. And I've been watering this. Initially, I watered it every other day, and then now that it's hotter, I'm watering it every day. But it seems to be full of green and hardly any fruit. And now that could be because of my constant hauling in of mulch that's taking the nutrients away. I have no idea. But it is a pretty big tree. It grew about 2 or 3 feet since I bought it. And that's my apricot tree, and it is doing fantastic. Look at that branch right there, the stem. And my sapote given from my friend, and look, that's what I'm talking about. These guys are eating everything. I'm hoping that they eat more pests than they are eating my greenery, but who knows. But the most important thing is that my fruit trees survive. I mean, this angle makes it look so pretty. It looks so lush. And I just got to do some weeding, moving pots around, and then moving the mulch. And I'll be set for this for this winter to transplant. So that's the update so far. Look at this beautiful canna with the beautiful leaves. It's doing fantastic. I love this variegation, and even this type of purple color. Now I saw an orange one, a bright orange one the other day. I was so tempted to buy it, but it was I think it was like 16 or 18 bucks, and I was like, that's kind of a lot. And I do have a lot of canna already on this property. If I get it for free or a cutting or something, I might just do that. Or if I get a smaller plant that's like $6 or something like that, I might get it. So there's my ginger, my canna, and behind there is my loquat, a papaya tree that I purchased next to a dragon fruit. Here is the rainbow colored plumeria. It's got white, yellow, pink, and like a mauve, and it's really pretty. It's doing fantastic. Like I said, this thing that's plaguing me besides the possum are all these grasshoppers. They're everywhere. So if they say that it's going to be there's going to be a locust problem, I believe it, because I see it. I see these guys everywhere. I don't know if I'm drawing them in with mulch or what's happening, but let me know if you have grasshopper issues on your property as well. Another thing is we always have amaranth growing, and it makes these seed heads and it drops the seeds. I always try to cut these off and give it to the chickens, and they'll get all that protein, and I'll just let it keep growing, and I'll just keep throwing the leafy parts to the chickens and the rabbits. And so you can see there are cuttings everywhere, but it just grows so prolifically and volunteers on its own. So I have it here and there and there and there and there, and behind it volunteering. My goji's making little tiny blossoms everywhere, so hopefully I'll see little goji berries. I haven't seen them yet, but in the spring when I said I had lots of blossoms, well, it's no competition to now, where there are quite a few little pinkish purplish blossoms everywhere. My kaffir lime tree is doing great. Look at all the little limes that I have. And you can squeeze it and zest it into your drinks and food. And the leaves are usable. Kind of the way that you apply the use of bay leaves, you would use it for kaffir lime leaves. And here are Cara orange. This is my first batch. I probably should have knocked it off of here and let it dry. Right now it's suffering. It's turning, like, it's curling and turning brown because of the heat. I used to think that citrus trees like heat because they were grown in California, but I could be wrong. I believe this was grown from seed. I believe it's a kumquat. However, I won't know until it starts to fruit. I started off this plant in a pot, and it was really teeny tiny, and now it's 2 feet tall, 3 feet tall. I've not seen a single fruit on this blood orange. It's the Moro variety. Let me see. Moro semi-dwarf blood orange. It looks really yummy, but I've not seen one single fruit, but at least the tree is alive. Now, I need to pull all these sunchokes, the dead sunchoke branches out. Here's my Mexican lime tree. It's doing fantastic. Traditionally, every year I will end up finding a egg, like a shell of the praying mantis on this tree. It seems to like it a lot. So far I haven't seen one, but maybe later in the season. And yes, I just have a lot of things going on, but trying to clean up the garden and getting it ready for fall and winter. So I will try to spend more time over here. It's just that the last few months we've had construction next door, and also it gets really hot in the days, and I don't want to be spending all my time in the heat, having heat exhaustion and whatnot. So I just do what I can in the mornings to try to water the plants and feed them fertilizer or to feed all the homestead pets and collect eggs. And so most of the cleaning ends up being cleaning the animals, the coop, cleaning their run, doing all sorts of things. So there's no shortage of tasks around here. I've been cutting the flowers off the basil, and this plant is doing really good. It will die back as well in the fall and the winter, so I have to try to keep it big and protected so it'll stay warmer and do well. And oh my goodness, I think my laurel tree is gonna have little flowers or fruit or something. That's fantastic. I've never seen that before. This brand new cherry moya, Dr. White, is doing fantastic. These were expensive, so I don't want for them to die. This is my Glen mango. The picture of the mango looks so good. From Champa Nursery. The fellow had recommended a different variety, but I looked at the picture of the orange fruit and I really wanted this.